This product is copy protecting coated. Attempts to duplicate will damage this product and may damage your recording hardware. Federal law provides severe civil and criminal penalties for the unauthorized reproduction or distribution of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, and video discs. Criminal copyright infringement is investigated by the FBI and may constitute a felony with a maximum penalty of up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. All drills and exercises in this program are designed to develop fundamental skills. It is extremely important as an athlete or coach that you execute them with proper technique in order to avoid possible injury. To reduce the risk of possible injury, consult your doctor before beginning any exercise or skill development program. The producers, participants, and distributors of this program disclaim any liabilities or loss in connection with the information presented in this product.
Hi, I'm Ben Askren, two-time national champion from the University of Missouri and two-time Hodge Award winner. I'm here today to teach you the lost art of pinning and how it can help you in your wrestling. What we're going to start first with is outside cradles, my favorite pinning combination. Okay, we're going to do what I call the cradle ride. I grab the pec and the ankle, I get on my toes and I put pressure forward. This is going to cause two things to happen. Number one, I'll either break him down flat, or number two, he's going to step his foot up. Boom. When he steps up, right here, I go right to lock the cradle and hop sides. Okay. From here, I have two different movements I can do. Number one, I can push back into him, push, 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 up there, cradle to his back. When I get the cradle, I want to put my knee in his side, hook his far leg for the pin. Same thing, cradle ride, grab pec, ankle, drive forward. When they step up, I lock the cradle, switch sides. Okay, get my foot up, I drive into him, bring him to his back, slip my bottom knee in his side, and hook. Of course, I'm squeezing very tightly. The other finish, which is my favorite finish in the whole sport of wrestling, and also the worst named move in wrestling, is a suicide cradle. Okay, so we're here, drive, and he steps up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lock and roll all at the same time. I'm going to finish the same way by putting my bottom knee in his side, hooking the far leg. The key point of this move is when he steps up, boom. You have to realize where his posts are. Now, our opponent will have two posts. He's got one leg and one arm on this side. Now, we have to realize there's 180 degrees we can go. So right now, if Coach Horton is my opponent, I'm going to want to roll right here because there's no post. However, if his leg might be farther back and his arm's farther back, I'm going to want to roll forward because there's no post. So the key to this move is going where there are no posts. Just like most of my wrestling, you'll find that I want to fight against as little pressure as I can do. So I always go where there are no posts. Finish with bottom knee in the side, hook leg. One more little trick that I've developed to do an outside cradle, because most people know it's coming now, is when I go here and here, the common defense to this is rotate and grab the hand. Rotates, grabs the hand. That's the common defense. I've developed the counter to this. If I go here and here, and someone rotates to grab my hand, all I'm going to do is take this hand, crank him really tight to his knee, and slip him under anyway. I have my cradle locked up again. Bottom knee in the side, hook the leg. Here, and he rotates over his ankle. I'm doing this with straight through the feet. Lock my hands, even if he's got my arm, I'll lock it up anyways, and then roll. There. Finishing with him on his back again. Okay, here's one outside cradle finish that can help you with security if you're worried about doing the suicide cradle. Pec an ankle, and I lock him up in the cradle. And I go and he slips his arm out. If he slips his arm out and I continue to try to roll, I'm going to be in big trouble. And I put his arm on the mat, here. So if I'm ever in a situation where my opponent gets to slip his arm out of the cradle, boom. Here, what I need to do is go back the opposite way. So I use this foot, I drive the opposite way, then I'm going to come over towards the head right there. And he'll actually be much flatter than he was without the arm out. If I lock up a cradle, go to suicide, and he slips his arm out, what I need to do is fight back the opposite way and hop over. Hop over right there, and I got him. He's dead to rights. When our opponent comes up to a 4-point stance, what I'm going to do is go for the gusto, lock up a cradle. Okay. This lock differs a little bit from what we've done so far. So far I've had a butterfly lock, which is right here, very secure. Okay. The problem here is I will not have enough distance to lock up my butterfly lock. All I'm able to do is get fingers, okay? So I'm coming right here, locking up fingers. All right, come over the top, lock up fingers. Now I'm gonna look to make it tighter and get my butterfly lock if possible. What to do is I'm gonna come over, both feet behind the knee, right there. Swing them back. As you can see, if you look at my hands, they're now in a butterfly lock. It's something I transitioned to while I was tightening it up and rolling him to his back. This time, try to pay attention to my hands if you can while I'm rolling. You'll see that they transition from finger lock to butterfly lock all continuously. I lock it up, and as I'm going back, they're coming tighter and tighter, tighter into a butterfly lock. I have him flat on his back, put my bottom knee inside, hook the leg. The key to this move is being patient. I'm not forcing it over while I have my fingers locked because I know that's not tight. I'm forcing him tighter into a butterfly lock, then taking him to his back. Next topic I'm going to go into is inside cradles, which is probably the most proficient pitting hold right now due to all the potentially dangerous and extra stoppages. However, I don't have a really good setup for the inside cradle. But if you watch Discovery Channel, I like to make this analogy. If you ever see sharks in water, when there's blood, they go crazy. If I ever see my opponent put his head anywhere near his knee, and this is my grasp range, I go nuts. As soon as I know this is this, I'm going to lock up a cradle. Could be from anywhere. Could be from when he's down, could be when on our feet, could be in a scramble. Anytime I see his head come close to his knee, I'm locking up an inside cradle, and most likely the match will be over. I lock up an inside cradle here, and I have a bunch of different finishes for everything he wants to throw at me. First finish, all I'm going to do is I'm going to drive into him. Boom. Drive him to his hip. Now the difference between what I do and what a lot of people do is they keep driving here. What I do is I keep my legs back, and I run around the head. Right there, putting him right to his back. I'm going to get my near fall, like on all inside cradles, I'm going to get my near fall here, come up on top, and finish the match. The reason I run around his head with my legs back is because if I continue to drive into him in this position, he'll be able to grab my legs and stop him from going to his back. Right there. He'll be able to grab my legs and stop me. So what I need to do is keep my legs back from him so he can't grab them, rotate around his head until he's on his back. I'm going to get my near fall count, and then I'm going to hip up on top for the pin. Drive in, keep my legs back here so he can't reach them, and I just rotate around his head. Get my near fall count, come up on top. Also, if you can't see when I'm in the inside cradle, I'm using a butterfly grip, which looks like this. Very tight. And I'm squeezing. I want to squeeze in with my wrists and in with my elbows, trying to put them in as small of the places I can. Second finish is what I call a dump truck finish. It's gonna happen if I'm wrestling Coach Horton and he puts his arm and his leg out to the side. I try, but I can't drive him over. All I'm gonna do is take the hand that's on his head, go low, the arm that's on his butt, and go high. Use my leg for power. So front arm low, back arm high, use the leg for power. Right there. I drop him on his side, pull him over to his back, and come on top for the pin. Front arm down, back arm up, use the leg for power. Right there. Drop him to his side, then I roll over, get my near fall, come on top for the pin. Okay, this is the third finish in the series. We'll go to it if number 1 and 2 don't work and he's sticking his leg up like this. What I do is I put my knee in behind his leg and then I use that to drive. Okay, drive to his side, I dig both legs in and I run them up towards his head. Right there. Very tight for the pin. Okay. One very, very important detail that you're going to need to know in this move is when I go and put both legs in, I'm going to slide my lock. If you can see my lock right now, it's about mid-chest level right here. When I go with the cradle, my lock's going to be up here by his ear. Okay, so right here, I dig a leg in, drive forward, I dig both legs in, and my lock slides up here. Now I run him over, go for the pin. If I take him to his back, and we forget to slide our lock on this move, what's going to happen is he's going to be able to kick over, and we're going to come all the way over the top, and end up in really bad position. Sliding the lock is essential to pinning people with this hold. So if I lock it up, I dig this knee in right here, and I'm going to drive forward. Boom. Then I sink my other leg in here, slide my lock, run over his head. There. Get the pin. Now the last finish is my favorite, also the very newest, and really doesn't have a counter to it yet, so you're very safe using this move, although we are going to roll over our backs. Just remember, it has no counter. I lock up a cradle. What I'm going to do is take about 3 to 5 steps towards his button. This is the step that a lot of people forget. I need to run 3 to 5 steps around to the back of him. And what I do is I sit to my butt, I high leg once, high leg again, and I'm on top of him for the pin. It's very, very important that you don't skip the 3 to 5 steps around the back of him. It's going to make the whole move different. Okay, so when I lock up the cradle, I take 3 to 5 steps towards the back of him. I hit my hip, I high leg once, high leg again, and I'm on top getting ready to pin him. This series of Hammerlocks. Something you've probably seen before. I have a few little variances that I think can really help your Hammerlock game though. Okay, 2 breakdowns I use to go to Hammerlocks. First we'll start with cross wrist, which means I come hand that's on the elbow to the inside thigh, and belly hand to the opposite arm, right here. Okay. At the same time, I'm driving with my legs and trying to break them down. So I'm going to go up the whistle, with the key point being capturing this wrist, continuing to drive. Okay. So elbow hand comes to the inside of the thigh, belly hand comes to the wrist/forearm area, and I drive. The key being capturing the wrist. That's what we're going to need. Okay. The other setup I use is the spiral breakdown. Spiral breakdown, I'll be coming in the same spots, but I'm going to use different body motion. So I'll be coming thigh and upper arm, I'm going to do a different motion. I'm going to spiral around his body. Right there. When he hits his elbow, grab the wrist, drive him down. Here and here, circle, When he hits his elbow, I capture, bring him down. Before we get to our hammerlocks, the one key detail that you're going to need to know is what I'm doing differently. Most people on their hammerlocks grab the wrist, and then when I pull it underneath him, he's going to roll it out. Boom, because I can't hold on to it. The thing that I do differently, it's going to allow you to be very, very good at this move, is I grab the side of his hand right here, this little portion of his hand. When I grab it and pull it back, he can't turn it out. So what we're doing is we're not grabbing the wrist, we're grabbing the side of their hand. There, pulling on the back. It may look like a little difference on camera, but go try it on someone near you, and you'll realize they can't escape from it. Key point number 1, grab the side of their hand as opposed to their wrist. Point number 2 is we're going to drive their body over their arm right there. Okay, lots of time we won't have the power to pull it out with just our arm. We're going to use our body, drive them over it. When we put it on their back, with 2 hands, push it across, and I want to keep this leg hooked. As you guys see, I'm hooking this leg. If I don't hook this leg, he's just going to circle away, and now I'm going to be in a much different position. So again, what I'm doing, drive him over it, put it on his back, hook the leg, 2 hands. So when we get here, we're hooking the leg, making sure they can't move, and we're pushing the arm across their back with 2 hands. Okay. From here, where I'm going to start is by raking the head. Okay. What I do is I keep the leg hooked, push across his arm with my back hand, and with my other arm, I go to the head, use my elbow to rake his head in. Rake his head in. His head in. Now I want to bring his head as close to his knee as I can. Now from here we have 2 options. Number 1, we lift up, throw it across his back, and drive him over. Okay. Go for the pin there. Nice and easy. Okay. Once again, push across, hook the leg, front arm goes to the head, rakes the head, his head brings him in. Now when I go for the pin right here, I'm going to make sure to put my arm high. If I put my arm low, you can limp arm out. Take it out right there. So when I go for the arm, right here, I go up towards his shoulder. Now he's going to have a lot of problems getting it out. There, take him over towards his back. Go for the pin. Secondly, same move. Crank the head in, and keep cranking it to a cradle. Okay? So from here, I let the arm go, lock up an inside cradle. There, and then we can go over a lot of the finishes we just did. Drive them, keep our legs back, put them on their back. The key point in this move is to make sure you keep on cranking his head till it becomes really, really close to his knee. The mistake a lot of younger kids make is they get him in here and they get all excited. They think, oh, I can just lock him up. And when I try to lock him up, his belly's out. Boom. And now I don't have my cradle anymore. When I have his arm on his back and I'm cranking his head, he's in a very vulnerable position. So be really, really patient. Get his head right next to his knee, and then lock up your cradle. There's no reason to rush this. You're in a big advantage situation. Once you lock up your cradle, you can use one of the finishes you learned from earlier to pin him. Next situation, pushing across, hooking the leg. When I go to rake his head, he's going to turn away from me. Okay, right there, he's going to fight me. He's not going to let me in. What I'm going to do in this situation, I'm going to take my arm that's raking his head through his other opposite arm and grab his hand. Right there. Okay. From there, I circle out front, lift, turn him over. Should be a pin high percentage of the time you lock this move up. Pushing it across. When we go to rake the head, he's going to fight against us and look away. Take this arm, thread it right there through his arm, grab his wrist. There. From here, I circle out front, Grab the chin, lift him up, turn him over. Go for the pin. One problem you might run into with a lot of these hammerlock moves is when our opponent buries his hand underneath his body and refuses to give it up. So if I go here and I try driving underneath his opponent on his back, lots of opponents will turn their body into it right there, bury their arm underneath them, and not let us get this out. Okay, I have two answers for this situation. Number one, I circle out to the side, circle with me a little bit, and I send my free hand under there to grab his 4 fingers and rip it out. Send my free hand under there, grab his 4 fingers, and rip it out right here. Then put it on his back, hook the leg. Okay? So if he buries his hand in a situation like this, I circle out to the side, I use my free hand, go underneath there, rip it out. Put it on his back, hook the leg. This last one is very, very effective, but very confusing and hard to learn, so pay very close attention to this one. So he has his arm stuck under his body this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate out to the side again, and the hand that's currently grabbing the wrist is going to go elbow in his back, and it's going to let go of the arm. I'm going to circle, circle, circle. I'm going to go elbow in his back, and let go of the arm. As you see, my elbow's in his back, go of the arm. With my free hand, what I'm going to do, circle a little bit. With my free hand, I'm going to grab his wrist, and then I'm going to grab my own wrist. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start turning him towards his opposite shoulder. Boom. There. When I get him going over to his back, I thread what my free hand was through his arm, other hand to his head, and pin him. Just grab his wrist, he's holding underneath him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to circle out to the side, and with my hand that has his wrist, put my elbow in his back, and I let go of the wrist. So my hand's here, it's free. With my free hand, I grab his wrist, grab my wrist. From right there, I'm going to crank him up towards the shoulder, right here. Right there. I thread my free hand through his arm, other hand around his head. Take him over to his back and pin him. Same situation, one more hold. Same thing. I circle out, put my elbow in his back, same lock here. Now what I'm going to do, instead of driving this time, I put my knees around his head right here, I'm going to pull. Okay, this is one where you have to be under control. If you just yank, the ref's probably going to stop it right away and say potentially dangerous. You have to be under control, pull him slowly, slowly pull him, and then right when you think you have him, spread the free hand, rotate your hips, and he's on his back. This is a move I use a lot in college because it forces people to go over. Same situation, head locked up right here. Elbow on his back, free hand. Grab his wrist, your wrist. This time, put your knees around his head. Lift this up slowly. Do it fast, the ref's going to stop it. Slowly, here, across the back, turn, and get the pin. One more time from a different angle. What I'm going to do, elbow on the back, hand free. I'm going to grab his wrist and my wrist. Knees around the head. I pull this up slowly again. We don't want the ref stopping our pinning hold. Arm across the back. Turn. Go for the fall. Okay, that's it for Hammerlocks. They're very, very good series. Pin people with, especially if you're willing to be mean. They work at little kids, high school, and college level. Next, we're going to go to a few things that he may try to stop our Hammerlocks with. First thing he may do is when he's on bottom, he may stick his hands way out with his elbows in, so I can't try to go to wrists. Right here, he's stopping me from going to wrists. Okay, this happens a lot, especially when you pin a lot of people. When they know it's coming, they don't want to give you the wrist, and they're keep them out right here. And one major thing that I do in this situation is I'll be going for a wrist. On the opposite side I'm laying on, I'm going to take that hand out, pop his elbow, cross face. Okay, it's not a nice thing. When I cross face him, I try to grab his tricep right there. I'm going to grab his tricep, and then I'm just going to flex my bicep like I'm doing a curl. Squeeze him real tight. Okay, next, I'm going to try to bury my shoulder in the mat over here. Right there. I'm going to go underneath with the opposite hand, then run him over to his back. For a very tight pin. One other thing that I really like to do if I'm having trouble getting hammer locks, if I can't grab wrists because they're defending here, is I like coming over the top with my opposite side hand, grabbing his fingers, bringing his wrist in. Now from there, I'm going to jump sides, drive over it, go to my hammer lock. Okay. So when he's going flat, I'm not able to easily grab a wrist. What I like to do is come over the top, grab fingers, pull it in, grab right here, rotate, drive him over it. And we're back in this crossface situation where we're reaching under, trying to grab, we can't get wrists, blocking us out. We're going to crossface again. Crossface. And this time he's going to really turn away from us. He's going to turn, and I'm not going to be able to put my shoulder in the mat like I did in the last one. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to post my hand behind his knee and use my whole body to run him into a crossface cradle. Then I bring him back, hold him for the pin. Back to the crossface situation where we're reaching under, we can't grab wrists. Post, crossface. This time he's going to turn away from me, so I'm not going to be able to bury my shoulder and do the barbed wire like last time. Put my hand behind his knee, run him. Okay, sometimes we aren't going to be able to pull right here if we're not powerful. What I need to do, I need to step up between his legs, use my leg power, and pull him right back. After I get my count, put my knee in his side, hook, get the pin. Back to our crossface situation. Bump and crossface. We're trying to bury our shoulder in the mat. Sometimes this guy's gonna be stubborn. It's gonna be hard for us to turn him over. Another option we can always look at is going back to his lower body. So I'm trying to barbed wire him over here. Grab his leg, lift, step, Turk. Okay, and then bring him over here. Right there. Crossface our man. And when we're trying to turn him over, it's very difficult for us. So what we want to do, open our hips up, grab his leg, step, Turk. When we Turk, we want to lift this leg off the mat, take him towards his back. We're going to get our count. Now I'm going to show you a real secret here. Something I do to pin a lot. So I'm going to crossface to get my back point, so when I want to go for the pin, take my arm, go backwards around his arm, and I'm actually grabbing, if you can see, I'm going to grab his lat right here. Okay, grabbing his lat, then I want to try to bury my elbow onto the mat next to his ear. Right there. Lock this up on someone near you. Very, very, very tight. Bump, crossface, right there. We're having problems taking him over. A step, lift the leg, turn him to his back for our count. When we get ready to pin him, I'm going to come here, I grab the lat right here, very tight lock, and I'm going to try to put my elbow on the mat next to his ear. Right there. It's going to hold him for the pin. The last pinning combination we're going to do here is something I called the assassin. It was a freestyle move that I made into a folk style move, and it's very unique. A lot of people haven't seen it before. When someone's laying flat on their belly right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come opposite hand over their head and try to lock my hands in their armpit. Now what I want to do is I want to circle and pinch their leg with my legs and try to bring my elbow here into my side. Circle right there, pinch, try to bring my elbow into my side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my feet and run them while keeping my hips parallel to the mat. Once I bring my opponent over to his back, I'm going to take it, cinch it tight, and put my hips flat on him. It's a pin nearly every time. The reason I like this move so much is, number one, it produces a lot of pain, and number two, it pins the guys that are trying to stall on the bottom. So my man right here is trying to stall. Do is take this hand, far hand over his head, lock in his armpit, pinch his leg, try to pull my elbow in, then I rotate my body around, keeping my hips parallel to the mat, and then really bear down on him once we got him over. One more time with the assassin. Why I really like this move is it forces the opponent to his back. It doesn't give him a lot of options. So I go far arm over the head, then I try to lock in his armpit. I'm going to pinch his leg right here with my knee, try to bring my elbow into my side, and keep going by keeping my hips parallel to the mat. Once I get him to come over, I sink my hips real low and go for the pin. Now on this, I am using a finger lock. I realize it's not as tight, but I'm going to need the distance. My arms aren't long enough to get the butterfly lock on this one. It's essential that we get distance by keeping this lock right here. One more time from a different angle. What I'm going to do is far arm over the side of his head, bring my arm back, and I'm going to lock in his armpit. Okay, I pinch his leg, try to bring my elbow into the side, and then I'm running my body around, keeping my hips parallel to the mat. When I get over, I sink my hips real low and go for the pin. Sometimes what we have is a guy that's really tough to break down. Essentially like Coach Horton, where he keeps his hips back. He's hard to move one way or the other. So we're going to need to be able to pin him from when he's up in his base. Now a lot of people are going to tell you this is a bad idea. And most of the time it is. But if you can't break someone down, you got to improvise. Something that I really like to do from here to pin people is what's called three-quarter Nelson. Okay, so I'll have one hand on the back of his head, and then I'll come underneath, both hands here, and I'll crank. Okay, at the same time, I'll hook his back leg and keep pulling him over right there. Try to get the pin. So from the back, what it's going to look like, we got to make sure to hook this leg. That's the most important part of the move. If we don't, he's going to be able to get out. So I have one hand on the back of his head, come underneath. I have his leg hooked right here, and I just pull down. There. Pull, pull, pull. Get him flat, and get the pin. Okay. Now there's things he can do from here, and we're going to work on what we may do to him if he does these things to pin him. His first situation, when I go for the three-quarter Nelson, as he turns into us. So we can't crank him. What do you do? If you can't see, you put his head close to his knee, and what that means is it's cradle time. Slap on a cradle, boom, finish him nice and easy. Just like in a lot of situations, this man may be distracted by the pain that three-quarter Nelson's putting on, and he'll forget that he's putting his head close to his knee. It's giving us a really good pinning situation. So I go to lock up the three-quarter Nelson, and to take the pressure off, he turns into us. Right there, okay? Put his head close to his knee, it means cradle every time. Cradle, then take him over. There, go for the fall. One more angle on that one so you guys can get a good hold on it. I go here, here, and to take the pressure off, he's gonna turn in like that. It's gonna take the pressure off him. So lock up. Slide him down to his base, and cradle him or the other to his back. The other thing you may see from this position, more likely than not, is he'll try bellying out. It's common defensive three-quarter Nelson. So when I go underneath to lock this up right here, what is belly out? Okay, that is actually a good defense. Very good defense with three-quarter Nelson. I'd recommend it. Okay, it's because right now I'm not going to be able to pull him underneath. Okay, if I can, it's not very much of a challenge for me to be wrestling who I am. So when he goes down, when I lock up three-quarter Nelson, my hands are right here. Now what I want to do is we're going to switch to a move we just learned. Right here, I'm going to switch my hands to his armpit, lock up the assassin, pinch his legs, rotate him over, go for the fall. Being very creative with our pinning combinations. We're keeping an open mind and just looking for what he gives us. As you notice what I was talking about with the outside cradle, we're going to the point of least resistance. Right now, if he's not giving me the three-quarter Nelson, I don't have to force it. If he's going to give me the inside cradle, I'll much rather take that. If he's going to give me the assassin, I'll take that too. We're being very versatile in our pinning combinations. Okay, so if I go to 3/4 Nelson, what he does is belly out. I'm not going to be able to 3/4 Nelson him. There's no way, not possible. Okay, so what I do is take my lock from right here and put it over here. Right now my lock's here. I'm going to switch, put my lock there in his armpit. Lock the leg, pinch, run over. So we're going to do this cradle drill. It's going to put us in a bunch of different positions where we cradle. We need a good partner for this one, and it's going to take a lot of energy. Okay, we'll start on top of him, and the coach will say, outside leg up. When he goes outside leg up, lock up my outside cradle, take him over to his back. Come back to our base. Coach will say, inside leg up. When he throws the inside leg up, lock up my cradle, take him to his back. Back up to our base. Then he'll say, sit out. When he sits out, lock up my cradle, bring him to his back. Then he'll say, tripod. Tripod, boom, cradle, right there. Bring it to his back. Then eventually when your wrestlers get comfortable with this, we're going to go faster and faster. So they say outside leg up. Inside leg up. Sit out. Tripod. And this is going to make you very instinctive in your cradles. And it's going to make you tired. So you do those four situations. And if you feel the need to add any extras in there that you may see a lot, go ahead and do it. I'm going to do the hammerlock drill. I'm going to emphasize an issue that we may have to start out before we do it. When I go to my hammerlocks, one problem we may have when we're doing a lot of these things is him bringing his hips up. And when he brings his hips up, I'm not going to be able to go to my hammerlocks. So what I'm going to do right now is a drill that's going to ensure we can keep him flat. Okay, so when he comes up, so how the drill starts is by us getting a breakdown. We're going to go to our breakdown, we're going to get to a wrist. Okay. So I can either go cross wrist or spiral like I showed before. I'll choose cross wrist. I choose cross wrist, and I break him down. Now what our partner is going to do is build up. He builds up, what I'm going to do is switch sides, change hands on the wrist, break him down. And now our partner is going to build up. Build up, switch sides, change hands, break them down. My partner's going to build up. Switch sides, change hands, break them down. Now you can imagine in a match, this guy's getting broken down to his belly 5 or 6 times in a row. Number one, he's going to get pretty tired. And number two, his will to get back up is soon going to be broken. Therefore, he'll be more likely to lay on his belly for us and let us hammerlock him and pin him. Okay? In full motion, the drill's going to look a little more like this. First, we're going to go to our breakdown. That's how the drill starts. Breakdown. Builds up, switch sides, break him down. 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 Now, as you can see, that's getting us a lot of work breaking him down in a match-like situation. I hope you learned a lot of pinning techniques today, but the key to pinning still is, has, and always will be, lock it up tight and squeeze hard.